Let's uh let's get it started. Let's get it started. It here. I never knew it was Let's Get It Started. I don't remember what I thought it was, but oh wait, it wasn't Let's Get It Started in the beginning,
They
was it? It was
originally
bad.
had they originally it was let's get it our word.
Oh,
And
that's
then
right.
and that was around the time where the social acceptance of that word was changing. That's when it started, around the time changing, being like, oh, that's not acceptable anymore. So they switched it and released it to let's get it started. So
That's bad. Black Eyed Peas. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? It's okay. You're still simply amazing. Welcome, everybody, to Simply Amazing. This is Lisa, aka the OG Nocturne. And of course, I am joined here by my fabulous, absolutely stunning, absolutely wonderful. I have no words for how incredible this person is. If the Oscars were on right now, I would not walk up and slap her. I'd walk up and give her a hug.
why are you even mentioning?
I don't know. It's like such an old reference that, you know what? That reference is as old as G.I. Jane at this point. So just keep on.
I didn't sign up for this today. We're going to get attacked.
Well, listen. Whatever. Come for me, baby. Come for me.
But yes, hi. I am here. I am Lauren, and I'm slightly terrified of what's gonna happen this episode now, but it's okay, guys. We're gonna have a great time. Yeah, there won't be slapping, but there will be lots of bananas, because this final issue of this series is, as Lisa was telling me earlier, it is bananas again.
It is bananas, and there should be a lot more slapping, because there is some sexual pestness happening in this episode between Bamfs and Lady Bamfs.
So much sexual stuff in this issue. I mean, Mr. Cockrum, I know, you were, like, no shade at all, but also, like, damn, you did this on Maine and they let you?
So I had a thought when I was reading this issue, and we're going to go through it in a minute, and we're going to talk about it. So I had a thought, and as I read this with a 2021 lens, or 2022 now, right?
A year back. You're still back there. It's fine.
I mean, it's only April at this point. I mean, whatever. I read this with a 2022 lens, and I look at it, and everything just it just reads kink. The tentacle 100%. Monster calling Kurt daddy. What was the other? There was another part that I was like, oh my God, this is just straight kink. What is happening here? It's just, the lady Bamfs who are all sexy and the gender swapping lady Bamfs. We got
to talk about the lady Bamfs and why the hell they are not still around. Bring them back. Oh.
Yes, and the tickling, it just, everything is just so everything. But okay, so here was my thought I had. Was this written with that intention back then, or did all of us read this as children and now we all got these kinks now? Because that's what I think actually happened.
Okay.
I think this was written to be cute and funny, and we all read it on the wrong side of adolescence, and now we are like all kinds of fucked up. That's what I think.
I'm gonna go with the way my sexuality goes and say it's both. I think
so. Yeah, probably. I
think especially because Cockrum and Claremont were so good at teaming up, and we know how Claremont is, and he has not hidden that and will not, and he shouldn't. Absolutely,
of course not. Yeah,
and
let your freak flag
fly. I don't think Cockrum hides it at all or hid it at all. And yeah, he shouldn't have either. And that's what's so fun about being an adult in these situations is that you're absolutely right. Like kids can read that and think, "Oh, this is just so funny." And then us adults knowing another context, neither one is necessarily wrong or right. They're both possible contexts to read it in. We're like, "Oh my god, no." So I think
Yeah.
it's both. I think it's meant so that's what's so fun about stuff like this. It's something that kids can read and they'll go over their head the stuff that we see, but we can read it and still get a kick out of it. It's like watching sitcoms now, like watching like Friends or Living Single or other shows that like as a kid I watched and was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. I missed every single entendre on that show as a child. But now I rewatch shows like that and I'm like, holy shit, I watched this. Like
Mhm.
this is okay for kids to see, like in here. So yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I I guess too, it's hard to say how things were taken necessarily in context when they came out back then because, you
Mhm.
know, we live in a time now where, especially in the past 20 years, everything, when something came out, like we had the internet to record everything as it was happening. So,
Mhm.
when something, came out, if something came out 20 years ago, we can look at, the records of what was said just by the layman, right? Message boards and all that kind of stuff that didn't exist back in the 80s. All we have is, critics and stuff like that, not necessarily, random people being like, oh my God, this is so hot, or people being like, oh my gosh,
Right.
what's with the tentacle monsters? So,
well,
yeah,
it took a, it took a,
I'm
it,
just curious. I'm so curious to know if the people, when they initially read this, were like, oh, this is kinky, or were like, oh, this is just, interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially just thinking about I mean, even now in this context today, I mean, there are still things I feel like there are more things than back then that the general public that isn't actually involved in kink, like in a kink community or something. There's a lot more that they understand now because those jokes are more general. But there's still a lot of general public today that doesn't understand. That said, I think a lot of people read this shit if they even read it, and they're like, what the fuck is this? This is weird. It doesn't make sense. It reminds me of how people react when I talk about a show I love, Legends of Tomorrow, and I tell them all the shit that happens on there, which, by the way, is more bonkers than this series. So if you guys want to watch something that's insane and very gay and very representative and general and fun and insane, watch Legends of Tomorrow, please. I can't say enough about it. I could do a whole pod about that show. But, like, it reminds me of that, because when I tell people about the shit that happens on Legends, they're like, I'm sorry, what is that? So, like, if you think an alien with tentacles calling Kurt daddy is out of line, like, I don't know what to tell you guys.
All right, new pitch for Marvel. Alien with tentacles comes down and calls Kurt daddy. I got nothing else, but we're going to start there.
Bring it back! Bring it back! It's Krakoa! Bring it back! The tentacle monster deserves a chance.
Well, Lockheed ate it, so we're going to have to get there. Oh, jeez. We're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. All right.
That's what she said.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, why don't we start from the beginning? We got the Wizard of Oops starting out, and Sharknado is he's just the worst. I mean,
he's such a nuisance. Like, he's just not even funny at this point. Like, the first issue was funny. Second issue, it's like, okay. Third, it's like, why? And now I'm like, be gone.
what I love is like later on in the comic, he's like, ever since I met you, my life's been terrible. It's like that's you bought him, dude. Like this was all on you. Like I don't know what your
Right.
problem is, but we'll get there. But it's just I don't know. They still can't figure out if Kurt's a bogey or a Bamf or what the heck he is. But Kitty and Ileana at least are still trying. And guess what? They end up bringing the Dark Bamf. They teleport the Dark Bamf in. And this is like really the only thing the Dark Bamf really does in this issue is gets teleported into the danger room and then Kitty and Ileana are just like, oh my God, gross. Get rid of it. Ew, ew, ew. Go, 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 go. Get rid of it. And they just send it back. And I kind of love this little fight between the Bamf and this like pig, I guess like Bebop looking guy. Like he looks like Bebop, Bebop and Rocksteady from was Bebop the pig
Yes.
one? Bebop was the pig one, right? I think Bebop was. Yeah, I think Rocksteady was the rhino and Bebop was the pig one. If I'm wrong, let me know out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know.
Just the ladies.
Just the ladies. I don't know. If you're
hilarious.
a guy, I don't want to hear about it. Just ladies, let me know. All right. Yeah, like only ladies. I only care about women want have to tell me about Ninja Turtles. All right, I don't care about men's
What
opinions about
a
Ninja
mood!
Turtles.
What a mood!
Move
Exactly.
exactly. Obviously, that disclaimer that was sarcasm. So we got Bebop in here, and I love this because the Bamf starts calling him pork chop like pejoratively,
Yeah.
which for anyone out there who watches RuPaul's Drag Race is legendary. Because of course pork chop was the first queen to ever be eliminated, and of course has become like the running gag of RuPaul's Drag Race for over 10 years. So he defeats him. They manage to break out the Lady Bamfs, and surprise, surprise, the Lady Bamfs are super damn sexy, considering that
Oh
the boy Bamfs are freaking Smurfs. So,
yeah!
yeah, Lauren, tell us about these Lady Bamfs, girl.
Of course, you asked me to.
Yeah, well, I can tell. I can see you sweating.
Well, no, it's actually very cold here. Anyways, no, like, but it was very fun to see because yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, like I feel like so many other characters that are popular, they have like a gender swapped version of them or a person that's the opposite gender but so similar to them. You know, like you got Superman, Supergirl, and the Bat People, and blah blah blah, and then Marvel have got Iron Man, and then you got it when Pepper's in the suit, and so you got all this variation, and then Nightcrawler. There's no actual character that looks like him. I mean, yeah, you have Mystique, but she doesn't have the same look as him, other than she's blue, and that's his mother anyway. So like it's just really fun to see that because I know there's one issue I have where there's like a different universe or something, and there's an actual like woman that is basically the equivalent of Kurt. I can't remember her name that well, but it was only one issue, very hair mess. But so it's really fun to see that here. And what's hilarious to me is that there's a part where they're in battle and stuff, and the women Bamfs are like coming in and fighting, and then they see Kurt, and they get just as horny as the little guy Bamfs, and the guy Bamf and Kurt are both like, oh my god, they're just as horny as the guys. And I'm like, exactly, thank you. Like we are horny too. Like we don't want to be creepy. Like obviously that's not, but like we're horny too. No shit. So it was very hilarious for me. I will say a lot of the jokes there, like that joke in general, is very hit or miss because it doesn't land completely well in today's environment because of a lot of things happening, unfortunately, that have come to light
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. But like it still lands in the fact that like, yeah, women get horny too. What about it? Like, what did you expect? They're just gonna stand there and like blush and hide in a corner. Like, no, some of us know what we want and we're gonna say it.
Exactly. Well, first of all, speak for yourself. Some of us do want to get creepy. So
Lisa, I told you you can't keep going to people's houses.
shut up. All right, listen. Why do you think we give away prizes so I can get their addresses? Watch now. No, but now this is another reason. This is just a second reason for the FBI to come to my house. And if you want to hear that story, maybe I shouldn't tell it. I don't. I don't know. Anyway, I was looking something up because I'm pretty sure that in Millennial Visions they had a gender swapped.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking
X-Men
about.
team.
That's
I
the
mean,
one I'm talking about.
Yeah, they do. Okay. Nocturne's also in Millennial Vision. She's kind of a gender swap Nightcrawler. I really don't like to put her in that because
Yeah,
she's a
I
totally
guess, but
different
that's also his
character.
daughter. So like,
Yeah, and it's a different character. She's not Kurt. Some fanfic writers like to write her as a teleporter. She can't teleport, guys. She doesn't teleport. It's not her power.
you guys can dream. I guess, like, whatever.
She does not teleport. She is not a teleporter, guys. She can't teleport. No. She's a possessor. She possesses your body. She will jump into your body and take you over.
Can she jump in my body?
That's what Rachel said. No, literally though. She went in Rachel's body and took a little nap. We'll talk about that one of these days. That'll be fun.
I love it. Okay,
Cool.
we're off the rails horny.
I know. I'm sorry.
Keep going on the issue.
What can I do? Nocturne comes up. I can't help myself. All right. Well, the Dark Bamf the Dark Bamf is back, man. He is literally he's just here to scratch his head. So
mood.
He's
That's half our listeners. They're just back here to scratch their head at us. Like, what the fuck are you guys on? Like, what is happening?
Oh my god, I love that was good. I love it. Um, but the lady Bamfs are here. Let the women do the work, from one of my favorite podcasts out there, True Crime Obsessed. Let the women do the work. They are going to attack Sharknado and get him. They even do that.
Get him, girls!
Exactly. They're after him, and while half the lady Bamfs are after Shagreen, the other half are after Kurt for a whole other reason. They're like, hubba hubba, we got a hottie. Let's get this guy. He's mine. And they are all over him. And yeah, he is not consenting at all.
Which
to
that's
this.
not great because
No.
and that's the area where this doesn't hold up today to read, right? As it'd be one thing if they're all fawning over him and he's just like overwhelmed, like playfully, but he actually does want the attention. He clearly is into it, but he's not into it here, the poor guy. So that's where, yeah, today that part does not hold up well. It's
Yeah.
like, that's a
Yeah.
goof.
It's also just like not a good time. Like girls. I mean, like
It's
if
not
he
like
wasn't,
ladies.
yeah, like if like if there wasn't a wizard to kill and people to save, he'd be totally into it. But right now it's just not a good time, girls. So as we're fighting, Shagreen blasts everybody or tries to, but then Shazak, who appears. I love that, Shazak, who appears, but the Wind Rider, who is also Storm from Kitty's fairy tale. And she's here to, I mean, again, let the women do the work. She is here to do what she does best. She is going to wrap this up. She's like, all right, it's 4 issues in. We're done. Wrap it up. Let's get this over with.
This whole let the women do the work. I know it's from that podcast, like, was great, but like, we do the work. Like, what if we're tired? Somebody else do something. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. No, agreed. 100%. Here's the thing. Let the women do the work and then like someone else help like clean up, right? Like here, like True. We'll cook the spaghetti, just do the dishes.
Amen.
I mean, I hate that metaphor because it's a cooking metaphor and that's very, rooted in a lot of other stuff, but you get what I'm going for. All right. Anyway, moving on. We got another Zach. So,
another Zach?
Another Zach. Some more onomatopoeia going on the page.
Oh, I thought that was a name. I was like, who's Zach? Like, I just read this. Who's that?
Just making stuff up at this point. I don't know, but I just love Cockram's onomatopoeia. He's got like the best with these words. So, but we got Wind Rider. She is fighting. And while she is fighting Sharknado, Kurt is like, I'm going to just go into my kink bank and figure out how the heck we're going to get out of this. So I'm going to tickle this thing to death. And he just starts tickling the hell out of this tentacle monster that has taken them, and that manages to make the tentacle monster laugh enough to let them all go. So Colossus and Kitty, the Colossus and Kitty from the fairy tale, and Mean, the little Wolverine guy, all get released, and then Lockheed shows up because she ate the big ass tentacle monster that tried to eat her.
Of course.
Exactly. And then through this entire fight, Nightcrawler is still trying to figure out where is the source of Sharknado's power. Where can I find it? And you know what? The whole time, Kitty and Ileana are still trying to get them back. It's just, it's a lot of craziness going on. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
It doesn't stop until Kitty finally actually opens up a portal to show herself as a god. I am the great and powerful wizard of, and then basically she falls into the portal, which is great because she was the one who knew what she was doing. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen now. Well, I do. I mean, I read it. So, we'll find out in a second. So now a word from our sponsor, Jazz.
Jesus.
I don't
Terrifying.
know. I don't know what's going on at this point anymore. We are so off the rails at this point. So,
I mean, I think it's only fitting because this series just went completely off the rails in this issue, but it was a ton of fun, and it's very interesting to see how Cockrum had to make this all come together, like all this craziness he did, and he's like, okay, now I've got to put everybody back. Basically, he has to put everybody back and say enough's enough, back to normal. And so watching all this craziness happen and then the end, like seeing everything kind of go back to normal. Even he can't do that properly because when Kurt gets back eventually, freaking Ileana's all like, "Oh, you want to tell us about like when we tried to teleport you and you're like naked?" And he's like, "You're too young." No, and I'm like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, it's and then her Playgirls that she has, her big collection of Playgirls, which
Oh my god, that line killed me. No, hold on, I took a picture of it. There's a panel, and this is during this is when Kurt has to go find the Oracle ever, which is a whole Wizard of Oz thing, by the way, and
yeah,
figure out how to get home.
we're going to skip over a whole bunch of this stuff because it's a big fight. Kurt basically figures out how to defeat Sharknado. He gets away. He goes to find the Oracle. And so the Oracle is interesting because the Oracle is from Bizarre Adventures number 27, which was a really cool story about Vanisher and Nightcrawler. And they both get teleported to this weird alternate dimension where all these women start worshiping Kurt, which, I mean, par for the course, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? I would. So,
Right.
yeah. So the Oracle, yeah, I love how the Wizard of Oz of it all right here is very key.
Well, and I wanted to. There's something very specific that some background character says when he gets there to go talk to Oracle, and this made me lose it. I literally hollered and read it out loud to repeat it to myself. This person goes, after he gets there, "Hot dog, get out the whoopee cushions and joy buzzers." I'm sorry, are we now calling vibrators joy buzzers? Because I am here for that. I am 100% here for that nonsense.
All right, girl. I don't think they meant vibrators, but I love it. I love where your mind is.
That's all I got from it. That is 100% all I got from it. I don't know what else the joy buzzer is. Got nothing.
Have you ever seen a joy buzzer?
What's a joy buzzer? I don't know.
Oh, really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, a joy buzzer is a really stupid prank thing from I used to have one when I was a kid. It's like a ring that you wear on the inside of your hand, and
and you like grab their hand and it like electrocutes them.
It doesn't like electric. It's unpleasant to feel.
It's like a static shock or something.
It can be a static shock, or sometimes it can be just like it can like just twist, or it's weird. It's just unpleasant feel. It's supposed to just kind of shock them, like it's like unexpected, and that's what a joy buzzer is basically. So, but I like yours better, a lot better.
No, now I know what you're talking about. I just didn't know that was called. It was just like a shocking ring or something. Joy buzzer, 100%. Can you imagine if you have kids and they're like, "What were you doing?" And you just say, "I was playing my joy buzzer." They're like, "Oh, okay," and they think you were playing with the actual joy buzzer you're talking about, but it's not. Like, there's so much going on with that. There's just so much. I can't.
Did we just figure out our first piece of Simply Amazing merch?
Please, God, I would love to design that. You don't understand. On a serious note, I wanted to go to get my master's degree in human sexuality education. Like, straight up. I actually wanted to do that, and just the only reason I did is because I have to go, states away and be on campus, and I want to do that. But like, so I would love to do that. Guys, we're going to design a joy buzzer for yours truly as the Simply Amazing joy buzzer. It needs to happen.
Oh my God, this is going to be okay. I'm in. I'm 100%. I'm 125% in. I'm so excited about this. Okay. All right. So we got to get back to the Oracle because I got something to say about the Oracle. So
all right, bring it on.
All right. So she calls Kurt Gainsborough. I got to point this out because this took me on a deep dive. For those of you who don't know, I do work in fine art in my day job, and I, grew up around art and love art, and art is one of my passions. And so, seeing Gainsborough, and I was like, what the hell does Kurt have to do? What is Gainsborough and Kurt? So I Googled it, why would she call him that? And then Thomas Gainsborough came up, and Thomas Gainsborough is an artist whose most famous painting is called The Blue Boy, and it kind of all made sense, like she would call a guy who is essentially blue and after an artist, I guess, whose most famous painting is the Blue Boy. But a little aside about the Blue Boy, it's kind of cool because the Blue Boy is actually one of the most famous paintings in the world as far as popularity. It's like one of those paintings that almost every single person had in their home at one point. Like literally most of you can go. I would say if you're a millennial to Gen Z, you can probably go to your parents' or grandparents' house and they will have a Blue Boy. Like I was at my grandparents' house and there was a Blue Boy. I was like a Blue Boy plate and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't believe that this was true until I was in my grandparents' house and saw a Blue Boy and it was like, "Holy crap, they really are everywhere." So, yeah, it's kind of crazy how many freaking people own this Blue Boy. It's yeah. So, but actually it's fascinating the story behind it. But anyway, this is not a art history podcast. This is a Nightcrawler podcast, but I just thought that was really fascinating. I want to talk about that
cool.
for a second.
Like,
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that's cool about comics is that we can look at it from so many different perspectives. And it adds more layers to everything. Like it reminds me of like when we last had Mason from Comics and Crosses on here, and literally all we did for like an hour was break down one image.
Yeah.
That was a promo image. So it's always really cool to have those additional perspectives. And look at that, like a perspective that's not horny this episode. I'm shocked. I mean, we did it, guys. We did it.
We did it. We did it. Like, sound the alarm. We did it. This is amazing. I'll say one other thing about the Blue Boy, because one of the really cool thing about it is Gainsborough was really famous for it, and what made it really, really unique is the use of the color blue, because up until the early 1700s, there wasn't like the color, specifically Prussian blue, was only created in like the early 1700s. So it was a relatively modern color for the time. So like for him to create that and use that much of that color was like, oh, okay, we rich now. Okay, I see what we doing. All right.
Yeah,
So
it was like a royalty color, which makes sense because, like, a lot of colors that have exhibited royalty during certain time periods are, like you say, like the blues and then the purples. Like,
yeah, we take, again, not to keep going on this art history tour, but we take for granted pigments and colors because we can just, so, I mean, we don't have to buy pigments because we buy our clothing the way it is. We buy everything the way it is. Unless we're working in art or textiles or something where we need to buy pigments, we don't need to, right? However, people who do need to, they just need to walk into a store and, pick up, the pigments they need, and it's there for them. But, we're talking hundreds of years ago, they had to actually like ground stuff up. So if they wanted to make, a certain color, they needed to find things in nature that were that color, grind them up into that pigment in order to create it. So it's always very fascinating to see that. If you look back far enough and you see like some deep, deep, dark reds and browns or some yellows, that might be blood and urine. It's not impossible.
Great.
It's not impossible.
So much.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there because we are already at the very last page of the issue. Kurt is finally back. They've figured it out. And of course, we are talking about Ileana's Playgirl collection, which I guarantee you in 1985 had so many mustaches.
Look, and there's some mustaches that work, but like me, I'm not. That's not my thing. Like,
you know what? Do you do you? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. You do you. You love yourself and you pick the facial hair that's right for you and you own it because you are beautiful no matter what you are and who you are. I will just say though, in 1985, they really did take that mustache and they really just ran it into the ground. I watched the Chippendales documentary recently, and it's like every single one of those guys had a mustache, and it was like your uncle's mustache. You know what I mean? Like not your uncle specifically, but like the royal your uncle's mustache.
Yeah, like that's the uncle stash,
Yeah, the uncle stash, or like the neighbor up the street who's always asking to borrow your hedge clippers stash. That kind of stash,
Love that.
Yeah, or the guy the guy with the van who hangs out in front of the middle school stash.
All right, so
Just
we're just gonna move on from that because that just sounds like something I don't want to think about. So we're gonna move on from that and just talk about how yeah, so definitely some interesting and kind of funny, but also in this time of day kind of questionable, I think, like stuff from Cockrum there. Like I don't know, like I don't think it's necessarily directly bad because you have Kurt that says, no, you guys are too young for that, like knock it off, because he's not buying into that kind of banter with, Ileana and Kitty because they are so young and he knows that. So I think that makes it more okay. And they're just being, nosy teenagers, which is valid. That's how teenagers are, whether we like it or not. I know I was a nosy little shit and I was saying things I didn't know I was talking about, so
yeah.
I overall, I mean, with his entire series, this is still probably one of my favorite series I've ever read because it's just so it knows what it is. Like it knows how goofy and silly it is. And it doesn't hide that. And it still somehow manages to keep you invested. And, I know personally I can't get enough of it. So I think this series is utterly fantastic. And if you want anybody to know what's like being a Kurt fan, throw them this series. It's 4 issues. It's the shortest series you'll get to read. Like to
I
be able to
totally
fully
agree.
understand a character so quickly.
I totally agree. It's a really fun little series. It's very in character for him, even though it's very goofy and silly, but it still stays grounded enough to keep you going. It's not so goofy and silly that like after 2 issues you're like, all right, enough of this. It's still fun
Right.
and light and it keeps you in. Uh, and I kind of enjoy at the end. He kind of visits a couple different little other worlds, like the weird world with the dinosaur cowboy.
Oh, that
Uh,
was freaking hilarious.
that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And that's when he actually and like he owns being a bogey. He's like, I am a bogey, and it's like, all right, dude, good. Now
I
you
don't know,
are a
but then he
bogey.
goes back on it. He's like, I'm boggy, and then he's like, but why did I say that? Oh my god, I need to get out of here because now I'm actually admitting it. And I was like, you know what? What if it would be fun to like see like a little flashback issue, like even just now where it's like or like an AU where like Kurt embraced being a bogey or a boggy and he just stayed in that world for like an issue. Like that would be so fun. Somebody
Do,
write it. Somebody do it.
do you know where that would have been a great place to talk about? Would have been
Mm.
that support group he had with Domino, where he could like
Yeah.
talk about like, listen guys, like I went to this other reality and everybody called me a bogey, and then I said I was a bogey, and now I don't know who I am anymore.
Yep.
That would be perfect little thing for him. So, but yeah, so totally love it. Great little 4-issue book from 1985. You can't really can't get much better than that.
Right. You can't.
It's adorbs.
Yeah, if you're
There's
a Kurt fan and you haven't read this, go get it. You can get it. You can probably find back issues at shop if you can't. Check eBay. They're cheap. They're
yeah,
not
they
like
are.
considered super valuable, which is dumb because they're amazing, but it's great for us because you won't have to, put a what's that, mortgage your house or whatever.
Yeah, second
That's the
mortgage your
thing.
house or sell your kidneys
Right,
or
like, oh god, yeah, you won't have to do that. So, if you need help find them, come let us know on our Twitter and we'll help you find them. Like, we're here to help. Like,
oh
anything you
yeah.
need from us, any resources we can help you get or whatever. Like, we want you Kurt fans to know, like, even if we don't know something or don't know where it is, we'll find it for you. Just
Oh,
let us know.
I'm ready to Google. I got the Google machine up and running. It is ready. I
And we
booted it
know
up.
peeps, we know other people. We have the hookup, guys. We are your Kurt drug dealer. You're welcome. Here to help.
Yes. I got your special K right here. Okay, wait. No. Wait. I said that wrong. So don't edit that, please. Or maybe do it. I don't know. We'll see.
I'll
Just
just take
please.
it out, probably, as long as I remember. Just take it out.
No. We'll see. Well, guys, let's talk about where to find us. You can always find us, of course, on our website. We are at simplyamazingpod.com. You can find us on Twitter at simplyamazingpod. That's simply AMZING pod. We are also on Instagram on the same one. We're on Twitch. We do our lives every once in a while. We give away fun things. Last time we gave away some comics. We gave away some of our Krakoa fun little tchotchkes I picked up on my trip to Krakoa. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you should listen to more episodes. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, you know,
And you should tune
um,
into our lives so you can see them and take it
exactly.
from me because I want half these things Lisa gets, but you know what? We have to. We gotta give it to the people. The people need it more than me.
Well, you should have made a deal with you should have made a deal with for a flower like I did to get in the gate. I'm not going to say who I made the deal with because they will kill me.
Oh man, now I want to know, and I also want to know what kind of deal it was. Was it like a blackmail deal or like a sexy deal? Like, you know what? I'm guessing it was sexy. Don't tell me more. I'm just gonna guess it was sexy.
Maybe we'll talk about it later. All right. So, yeah, we're on Twitch. Come find us for those. We do them all the time. You can find me at the OG Nocturne. That's Nachturne. The OG Nachturne. I don't know why I repeated that. It's like I'm leaving a voicemail. And of course, Lauren, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at friendlymBHDBI. And then you can also find my live show's Twitter at MBHD Comic Show. That's Sundays at 10 a.m., unless I have to adjust the time for a guest on the West Coast if I have one on. And you should probably go check that out because you might be able to see Lisa and I live together on that show and the chaos we bring there. Very different than the lives we do for the Twitch here. So I think it's a new kind of fun you guys will enjoy seeing too.
Also, if you're out there, you should watch the Minx. No specific reason, I guess, but just you should watch it. I mean, there is a reason, but just watch it. Anyway, and also, yeah, if you are out there and you're just having a hard time with yourself because you're like, I am not a boggy, I am a human being. Just remember that you are also simply amazing.